All right, welcome back, good people. On this video or this podcast, I want to talk about meetings. Meetings. I know we all have issues with meetings because I too uh, sometimes choose not to go to meetings when I should go. Sometimes, this thing called life gets us busy, and we have projects we work on, and we can kind of set certain meetings to the side, but it's really important that you don't put too much on your plate so that you don't have a habit of constantly missing meetings. Because when you do that, you kind of in your mind make it okay for you not to attend the next meeting, right? And that's always more, I'll say, apparent once you start to grow a little bit, because people start to demand your time, right? Your sometimes your time is funded, which means people pay you to show up, right? So yes, you're going to be there, but the ones who you're just there, and then they're talking about certain issues. In other words, you're kind of like the celebrity, or you're kind of like the person that they're there to see, right? Sometimes that has a different effect on people when that's the case. So it's absolutely necessary that you focus on making certain that you kind of have your patterns set up to where when you do have a meeting to attend, or you agree to show up at a place, that you're able to do that as much as possible. I understand there are always exceptions, and we have to allow for that as well. But when we just continue to commit and don't show up, or continue to commit and don't respond, then that tells a story. You have to be mindful of that, right? What is that story that it's telling? It's telling that person or that organization that they can't count on you, right? They can't count on you because you don't show up. And if you don't show up, then there's a presence that's missing, right? It's like when you do show up. Whenever you show up, that presence that is there now wasn't there. Only you can bring that. You don't know the responses that you're going to get. One of the things I like to share with people is that you never know who's in the audience, the proverbial audience, right? It could be a party of 3 people. That's an audience, right? You're talking to those people, sharing information, getting information, right? So just because the room didn't fill up doesn't mean that the people in the room aren't significant, right? And you never know from a networking perspective who the people are and how they can assist your journey, right? Because we're all on a journey in life. We're all on a path. Although many of us are not in control of that path because they don't really acknowledge it or acknowledge themselves as being able to be in control, in which in reality you are the only one in control. But it's like being exposed to something. I always like to say it's like being exposed to something that you thought was the truth, and all of a sudden finding out that it's not that way at all. Do you continue to believe what you thought was the truth, or do you start to believe the truth? If you continue to believe what you thought was the truth, that says something about you, right? It's not saying that you're a bad person. It's just saying that your processing mechanisms are not all working. They're not all firing, right? Because you know the truth now. Stop playing. You know the truth. Acquiesce, adjust, make adjustments, right? And that's what life is about. Life is about making adjustments. If I have a meeting to attend and the meeting starts at 7 and the traffic is backed up and I can't get there till 7:30, that's going to make me feel a certain kind of way because I'm punctual. I'm that type of person. If I'm going to be there at 7, I'm going to be early. I want to be a little early. I'm not going to be there at 6:30, but I'm going to be between 6:45 and 7, because I like to look at the lay of the land, so to speak, especially if I'm the one that's doing the speaking, right? Or if I'm the one that's on a panel of some sort where people are going to be asking questions. I like to kind of position myself where I know what's going on, because see, it's about your little world, right? When you're doing things like that, it's about, if I have to speak to an audience, I have to be able to go through what I call my mental rolodex to set things up mentally for myself, because I want to uh, come off to the audience in a certain way, and that is my way. That's how I do it. Now, how you do it is different, because we're different, but the way I do it is all that's necessary for me. It's not necessary that you accept it. It's not necessary that I accept the way you do it. It's just the way we do it. That's why we're all individually wrapped, right? What works for you won't work for me, and vice versa. And that's the beautiful thing about life. That's why we have nobody to blame but ourselves. A lot of times our situations hold us back too, because you got a start that I didn't get, whether it be financially, whether it be intellectually, whatever that case is. But that's not what makes you who you are. Your money doesn't make you who you are. Your situations doesn't make you who you are. You make you who you are through perseverance, through gaining information about certain things that you didn't know, and applying certain things so that they work a way that you want them to work, and then monitoring those things until you get the results that you want, and then doing it again, and then doing it again, and then do it again. And see, over time, understand, this is not a one-night thing or overnight. It's not a add water and you get the results you want. No, it requires work. It requires effort from you, not me, from you. And at the end of the day, you're the one who should be receiving the accolades, because you put in the work. That's why a lot of times I see people who are like haters or jealous of something, that they have no idea of the work that it took to go into that. None whatsoever. And that's okay, because you're going to have those. But don't let that take away from your shine, right? You know what you did, and you know that what you did, the reason that they're hating is because they would never do that. They would never commit to following through on a process that's going to bring results that you have. So all they can do is hate. That's how that works, right? So I'm saying all that to say this: when you have meetings, go to those meetings, right? You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what you're going to learn. You don't know what you're going to help someone else learn, right? Just don't schedule so many that it, overloads your schedule. Don't do that. And I'll see you on the next podcast.